everybody. This is Island Hopper TV, and today we're going to talk about the best things to do while visiting Bahamas. Let's do it.
First up in this list of 17 places is Atlantis, Paradise Island here near Nassau, the capital and the largest city of Bahamas. You can be an Atlantis resort guest and stay here, or you can get a resort day pass, which includes access to Aqua Venture Water Park, one of the most amazing water parks you'll ever go to, of white sandy beaches, and access to the Atlantis Casino. Next up, here we are at Bimini, a place known for big game fishing, uncrowded beaches, partying nightlife, and you can see the big ship that people like to dive and swim around. This is actually just off the coast of Florida. Now here we are at the Exuma Islands, known for its sapphire blue water, stunning white sand beaches. This was actually the original Swimming with Pigs beach, also the chain of 365 islands. And another popular thing to do in the Bahamas is snorkeling, getting in the water. There's so many different places to go because of the sapphire blue, Gatorade colored waters. You'll find turtles, even some sharks. Next up here is Coco Cay, which is actually only used for Royal Caribbean guests. The only people who actually live here are Royal Caribbean employees. It's a strip of sand right here along the Berry Islands, 55 miles north of Nassau. The only way to get here is on Royal Caribbean Cruise. Now here we are at Junkanoo Beach. This is actually one of the most popular beaches in Nassau, also in the Bahamas, a popular place with people who want to come hang out on the beach, do some sunbathing, hang out at the local bars on the beach here. Seemed like most people who were hanging out here was in the afternoon. I would say at nighttime it's not as popular or crowded to be. It's about a 15-minute walk away from the cruise port, so keep that in mind if you're arriving on a cruise. But if you're going to stay in the Bahamas, there's plenty of other beaches aside from this very crowded beach if you're looking for more isolation, even in Nassau. If you're a beach person and you're particularly looking for beaches, consider looking at a beach called Cable Beach, Pink Sands Beach, Gold Rock Beach, Half Moon Beach, and beaches of Stalking Island. But if party and umbrellas on the beach, suntanning is your thing, Junkanoo is where you're going to want to be. By the way, there are timestamps below so you can jump around from location to location. Next up is island hopping. This is a very popular thing to do in the Bahamas because there's over 700 islands, so much to see and do and explore. You'll be surprised how many are around Nassau alone. And a little later on in the video, we'll show you some of those islands that are around Nassau. Next up is take a cruise. So when you arrive in the Bahamas, you may be arriving on a cruise ship or you may be departing on a cruise ship, but this is what Bahamas really is known for. As we talked about previously, you can only go to Coco Cay with Royal Caribbean. Also, they have boat tours all around here. You can take a boat tour from Nassau to the Exumas. You can go on a ferry to some of the other islands. They have a glass bottom boat. Just getting out there on a boat, going to a piggy beach. This is all something that's very popular here, and you can commonly get these tours at your hotel or booking through the cruise ship travel agency. The Bahamas does get high swells. The seas can be quite intense, so make sure you wear a life jacket. If the tour operator isn't offering a life jacket, I would suggest that you demand that they give you one before you're going out. It's just a necessary travel precaution to take, especially if you have a family. Rarely are there boating accidents, but they do happen, so don't take it lightly. Now, boat ticket tours do vary in price depending on the activity. For example, if you wanted to go to the Exumas, it's going to cost you around $350 per person.
So here in Bahamas, Miko Dread, these guys got a channel and music. Amazing service. What's the name of the company that gave us the
Mojo's Water Sports?
Man, these guys took 5-star, 5.5 star, 6-star, above 5-star.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
Make sure you guys check out my music videos. Miko Dread, MECODRED. Check out my YouTube channel.
What kind of genre is it? Is it like rap or is it reggae?
Like a little dancehall reggae type of thing.
Yeah. Dude.
Oh yeah.
Check them out. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
See you when you come now.
Next up, let's explore around the old town of Nassau. So you'll see these colorful buildings, lots of history here. I saw more rum cake restaurants and seafood restaurants around this area than anywhere I've seen in the Caribbean. So if you love rum cake, that's definitely something you're going to find right here. And right next to the cruise port terminal is the world famous Bahamas Straw Market. And some other places that are popular to check out, going to be the Queen's Staircase, the Pirates of Nassau Museum. You can learn all about the real pirates of the Caribbean. National Art Gallery of the Bahamas, for those of you who want to see some of the art scene. They also have the Fort Charlotte nearby. And of course, because it is nearby the cruise port, you're going to see lots of shopping for souvenirs and jewelry. That's typical in the Caribbean. And then they have some horse and carriage that you can also do for those of you who are interested in exploring downtown Nassau this way. Then you have local food. As you can see right here, I got a seafood boil that came with corn and some crab and shrimp. Also, you're going to have jerk chicken here. Coconut rice is popular. Also, rum cake like I talked about before. And yes, it is made with real rum. And then you have fried bananas, much more food you can try. Plenty of tropical fruits, including coconut, fresh coconut. Now let's talk about doing some deep sea fishing, going on a fishing trip. There's lots of people who come down here just for this activity alone. Now let's talk about Grand Bahama, one of the largest Bahama islands you'll find, and it's really 60 miles from Florida, a lot slower pace than Nassau. Now here we are at Pig Beach. Now there's something to know about these piggy beaches. They're everywhere in the Bahamas. It used to be something that was exclusive to Exuma Islands, but now they've actually set one up here in Nassau. They've got them in other parts of the Bahamas. They took the pigs that actually do enjoy swimming and they just moved them around, and they have these little piglets, and sure enough, right when the little piglets come on to the beach, they know exactly what to do. It's already in their evolutionary process to just get in the water and swim. And I was suspicious. I wasn't sure if they actually like swimming, but one of the things I realized right when I got there, they actually just go swimming alone. You don't need to chase them with food. You don't need to throw food in the water. They literally just love swimming, these pigs. And depending on how far you go to actually get to one of the pig beaches, like I said, they have them near Nassau. A tour like that would be around $130 to $150 per person. It's about a half a day experience. When you're out there, they'll have other activities for you to do other than just feeding pigs. And some of those other activities will include riding jet skis, which you can do all across the Bahamas. One of my dreams is to actually ride jet skis in the Exuma Islands. They also have banana boats. In this case, we actually had the Shamu boat out at the Piggy Beach. Those are all complimentary and included in the actual tour, so you don't have to expect to pay anything extra. And one of the most popular activities is definitely scuba diving, whether it's scuba diving in the deeper waters or the shallows. A lot of the Bahamas is very shallow, but you will see on occasion tigers, sharks, and other sharks. The safe one to be around is the nurse shark. Now what we're going to do is talk about some important things that you should know when visiting the Bahamas. We're going to talk about everything from the arrival process, currency, to more information about the islands, transportation, getting around, all of that good stuff. So we're going to talk about that now. Let's get into it.
So the first thing you should know is the arrival process. So you basically need your passport, no visa or anything, especially if you're coming from the US. Typically you'll arrive by ferry boat or by plane into the airport in Nassau. They do have several other main islands, which we'll be talking about later, but some of the more easily accessible places are going to be Bimini, which is closest to Florida. You can get there by boat from Fort Lauderdale. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, you can arrive into Freeport, but Nassau seems to be the #1 place to go when it comes to air arrivals. Now, one thing I did notice when I came to the Bahamas is there's many cruise ships. We're talking 6 or 7 cruise ships in port at any given time, it feels like. Although I'm looking right now, it seems like there's just 4. I don't know how many they can hold here, but lots of cruise ships. And in Nassau, all around here is cruise ship tourists, which if you're not on a cruise ship, can be a bit overwhelming, especially when they're here because the streets fill up. All right, now let's talk about the currency. So there is a Bahamas dollar, but it's equal to US dollars. So 1 to 1. US dollars are commonly accepted here, so you don't have to exchange it. For example, if you go to the ATM, they'll be able to pull it out. Also, credit cards are widely accepted here. When it comes to American Express, though, not always accessible. It seems like Visa and MasterCard definitely most popular. All right, now let's talk about safety here in the Bahamas. So you do have to pay close attention in certain areas at night, especially, but in the tourist area around the cruise port, very safe. But it is suggested that at night, when you're going out, you should pay a little bit more extra attention. I personally didn't have any issues. I'm only saying that based on what I've heard from locals. I've also heard from other tourists. You just have to pay attention a little bit more when you go out, especially around the island at nighttime, okay? So otherwise, when you come here, you don't really have to worry about safety too much. I didn't see anything. that was alarming or that you should be extra concerned about. So I hope that puts you at ease. But as with anywhere, it can happen, especially at night. You're drinking, going out to dark areas. Now let's talk about activities and things to do while you're here. One big thing that people love to do in the Bahamas is go out to Piggy Beach. Now there's about 4 different Piggy Beaches, so depending on where you're at, that's the one you'll go to. I believe the original one was in Exuma, and the pigs basically, out of hunger, learned to swim. Nowadays it's a tourist attraction. Another thing is go to the Exuma Islands. That's where the beautiful Gatorade color water can be found. But just walking around Nassau, you're going to find more of a tourist experience here on the beaches. Very relaxing. People also like to go to the restaurants and the bars and experience the local food, like seafood. Here's the salty crab right in front of me at the beach, Junkanoo Beach area. So beaches, water activities, going to the water park at Atlantis is another popular thing, so keep that in mind. Now let's talk about the weather here in the Bahamas. Peak season is from November until around April, May, and that's because it's cold in the north, but down here it's around 78 degrees on average. Some of the locals say the same weather that you would get in Miami is the same weather you would get here in the Bahamas. Bahamas is maybe a little bit further south, so maybe Key West weather. But here it is, January. Maybe at night it got a little bit chilly here in January, but for the most part during the day, very hot. Swim in the water. Well, the water's not too warm this time of year, I will say that, so that's something to keep in mind. But hurricane season obviously being from around July until October, November. That's another reason why it's not peak season, is because of the hurricanes. But really at the end of the day, people come down here to get rid of the cold, to get away from the cold in Canada and North America and New York. Come down here, get that tropical weather that we're seeing right now. A little bit of rain in the evening time, but nothing too heavy here in January. So something to know about the weather. Now let's talk about the language. So the local language is English. You don't have to worry about speaking Spanish or French or anything like that, so that's a good thing. When it comes to communication, getting around, people are very easy to talk to, no challenges there. People are friendly, so that makes things a lot more smooth when you're getting around Nassau or any of the islands, just asking questions, right? Now, one thing I would say about the Bahamas, there is around 700 coral islands. There's probably about 4 main ones. We talked about Freeport, we talked about the one in Nassau, which is actually a small island. It's not even the biggest island. There's Grand Bahama, and you know, you have the Exumas, which are very small, but really lots of small islands all around here. Even in Nassau, you'll see several small islands. They call them coral islands. Yeah, and about 30 of those islands are actually inhabited. When it comes to transportation and getting around the islands, typically you're going to take a taxi, although you can rent a car. Just keep in mind that they drive on the other side of the road than they do in the United States. People call that the wrong side of the road. Some people call it the right side of the road, but you get the idea. Even the steering wheel is going to be on the other side. So if you're driving and you're not used to it, getting a rental car, keep that in mind.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider watching our Turks and Caicos video or Grand Cayman. See you on the next one.